Hi, Book 2, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie. So I tried to film this video last night, but then I was really tired, and I didn't like how I sounded, and I didn't like some of the things I said on there. So I decided to refilm it. I deleted that one, and I guess I can do it again. But we did just get back from seeing my grandmother. And so and it's a long drive. I was tired anyway. I was just, thinking I had a little bit of energy and why not film? But I didn't like it, so. But I'm going to update you guys, and I also have some thrift books that I got. This is probably one of my smallest order. Well, I think I've ordered 2 books before, where I've just gotten 2 books. I mean, mostly I stick to 3 books. But I only got 2 books because one of the ones I was looking at was a little bit more. I mean, granted, either way, thrift books is still really, really good prices. But I just decided to not, because because again, I always set this budget for myself, so I try not to go risk getting too close to going over my budget. So I haven't looked into how much I got, how much I've spent. I mean, I've only done like 2 purchases. I think I don't know if I've been to Books A Million or not, but anyway, yeah, I think I did go before we left. Anyway, so first I'm going to talk to you about my reading. So I did finish. I brought this with me to my grandma's so I could finish it because I don't know why, I never do it. I never bring a book that I'm in the middle of. I mean, I think it's because I see these other books or books that I recently bought that month before we leave for our visit, and I'm excited to read those books and not as excited in the moment to read the book I'm currently reading or read any of the books that I've, put on pause. So I finally decided to bring a book I was almost done with this time around, and that was All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. And I enjoyed this very much. This was very engaging, and it's it's more literary than my first thought was a thriller. I mean, there is a bit of a mystery in the story. There is intrigue in the story, but it is more literary. And as the book, and it does have obsession, a character becoming obsessed with someone, which the back description does say that. But I was thinking it was going to be more, this person was going to be obsessed in a dangerous way. But it actually was not that. It was very different. But I mean, in the end, it worked out. I enjoyed it. I was definitely wanting to know the answers to the mystery and what was going to happen, what was going to be revealed. I did get frustrated with the characters, though, throughout the book and the sort of relationship dynamics. But anyway, I did decide I am going to donate this to the Outpost. I mean, that doesn't mean I didn't, obviously, as I just said, I enjoyed it. It was a great read, but just because I don't keep every single book that I enjoy reading. And I know a lot of people, and of course a lot of people, people who were constantly, talking about consumerism, I do worry about them judging me because it's like, oh, you could have got that from the library. Why did you, spend the money on it? But it's a chunky book. And when it's chunky, I don't want it, because I know I'm going to have to return it and then I'm going to have to keep renewing it until I finish it. So I like being able to take my time with it and owning the book. And I didn't know if I might have had the desire to keep it. I mean, just, there are some books that, there is a possibility I might want to keep a book, that But this case now, I'm good. I'm glad I read it. I had a good time with it. I think I might do a review of it before I send it off to Outpost Bookshop. I don't know. I have tried to do separate piles for books that I'm not sure if I want to part with just yet. And although now this one, yeah, I'm definitely not sure because, like I said, I might do a review. But some of those other ones in that pile, I might just have to let them go because I'm being greedy and I really should just pass them on. But anyway, so yeah, that is All the Colors in the Dark by Chris Whitaker. That's the one I finished. I did read a little bit of Gravity's Rainbow by Thomas Pynchon on my Kindle. And I'm struggling with that one. I mean, I did try to look at some videos. Like, I looked at someone's vlog on their reading experience of that one. And I always forget his channel name, but there is someone I watch that he's, I think, a UK YouTuber. I don't know if he considers himself a booktuber or not, but he runs the Hardcore Literature Book Club. And it's on Patreon. I don't know. I cannot remember what his channel name is. I think it's his name is his channel. His actual name is his channel name. And he does these videos where he kind of discusses how you should read books that are, classics, especially the ones that are a little bit harder than others. But, for him, they're worth the read, worth the challenge. And he did a video on Gravity's Rainbow, and that helped a little bit. Like, I got a better understanding of what the book is about. Like, it is World War II during the Blitz, and there was all these bombings, and the main character is Tyrone. I already forgot the last name, but something he thinks he was experimented on, and when he does a certain activity with his body, he thinks that predicts things that are going to happen with the V2 rocket. They're talking about that whole the V2 rocket. And there's the first section talks a lot about bananas. Like, I'm guessing, was that the only thing they ate? It was bananas, like, or that was the one fruit they had a lot of? That's the only thing I can think of is that they had a lot of that fruit. I don't know if it was because it was cheap, maybe at the time, or like it was easier to get bananas. But there, he was making a lot of, like, one of the characters was making a lot of stuff with bananas. That's one of the things that I remember, because there's, in the first several pages, they say the word bananas a lot. And I love bananas, and there's definitely some, things that bananas go well with. Bananas and strawberries, bananas and peanut butter, bananas and Nutella, bananas and chocolate. That goes great, but, and bananas in a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But I don't know if with everything. But, so it's just, the way it's written is very confusing. And I'm just struggling to follow along with it. And maybe it was a bad time for me to read it while we were at my grandma's house, because there was just so many distractions and I couldn't concentrate. And then by the time it gets a quiet time where I'm going to bed and decide to read before bed, I'm tired. So my brain is, exhausted. So I have a hard time concentrating when I'm reading and trying to comprehend the text. So it might have just been a bad timing, and, maybe I'll read a little bit before we go, in the next few days. I'll attempt it again now that we're at home. But yeah, it's a bit of a struggle. And next trip, I might go straight to a different book on my Kindle. The problem is, even though, like, I only bought it on Kindle, so it wasn't super expensive, like the regular tangible book with me at the bookstore. I don't have a physical copy there, so it's not, like, reminding me. I still feel like, okay, I spent the money, I got it, so I feel like I should read it, and I don't want to leave a book just sitting there being unread on my Kindle. And Like, I don't like that's it's just it would bother me. I would feel guilty about it, and I got it months ago, so I missed the 30-day deadline to return it because I know I've looked and there's a 30 you can return a book within 30 days. And I lost that. I'm kind of stuck with it. So I feel like I'm going to keep trying to read it. It's not, at least with the physical book, you can donate it, send it somewhere, or give it to someone else. Um, but anyway, so that's how that's going. And I am also reading. So the next book, physical book I went to was Sanshiro, by Natsumi Soki, and apparently this author is the father of Japanese literature. And this boy from the country, like, it's basically like a boy, a southern boy, the southern part of going to the big city, basically. That's what, the southern part of Japan. He's going to the big city of Tokyo. And it's kind of about his life experience adapting, how he's never been in this kind of environment before and he's adjusting to it. He's very much like very cautious about what he says that he likes. And that kind of person who's trying to be cool and trying to fit in, so they're like, oh yeah, that's cool, I like that, or oh yeah, I don't like that, or oh, that's okay, that kind of person, that kind of attitude of, not wanting to be judged by these big city people who were, he sees them as superior to him. And his mother wrote to him and told him that he is, I don't know if it's his cousin or someone else's cousin that's a friend of the family, lives in Tokyo, so he's told to go, that maybe this person can help him adjust to living in Tokyo for the period of time that he's there. And Nomiya, I don't know the Japanese language, I don't know how to say these names. I know I could Google them and get the pronunciation, and I will at some point. I know my dad has been to Japan, so he might be able to help me pronounce the names and stuff. But anyway, so he goes, and he is very academic. This cousin, he's very, 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 literary, well read. He's very all about, experimenting in his studies and everything, and he doesn't understand some social behaviors and why people are the way they are, and like he's very dismissive of he has a sister, and he's just very dismissive of her, just doesn't really care about her. I mean, he'll care about her to an extent of as much as he can, but like there's one point where he finds out that she's sick, and he goes to see her, but then he's like, oh, that's just my sister being her usual self. And I think when Sanshiro meets the sister, he likes her. He gets a bit of a crush on her. And he also meets Jojiro, this other young man who is close with another professor that he like admires and wants to write about and everything. And this guy also kind of like it's like, I'm having a hard time like describing him, because first on a personal note, I don't like him. I think he's kind of a jerk and not really sensitive to other people's feelings. And he's someone that's very much like live in the now and what is relevant to our society, what's important, what's like. The professor reads these older works of Japanese works of literature, and he just doesn't get the appeal of that. He's like, oh, these aren't important. Why? No one reads these. No one cares about these. He's just very dismissive of other people, and I think he will sometimes cling to people. Gets attached to them. So a lot of interesting characters, very interesting people that San-Siro interacts with and socializes with and tries to be friends with so he can adapt. Also, another interesting is when he gets to the school, he feels very dissatisfied. Now, I have a theory about that. I think he is doing too much. Like, he's trying too hard. And I think that's why he's dissatisfied, because it's too much. He's bored, and I think he hasn't figured out what he wants to learn and study, and what's important to him. But yeah, it's really interesting. It's not a lot going on. I mean, it's just basically a very quiet book about this young man experiencing, going away to college. But I think I imagine a lot of people can relate more to that than like some crazy adventure kind of story, because I think more people are prone to experience this kind of thing where they just go and, meet all these different people and maybe get, trying to figure things out. But anyway, this is really good. I really like it, and I like them talking about. They did talk about a couple, like, or Arunoko. It's this. I think it's an African work of literature. I think about this African prince, that ends up becoming a slave, and I think he's held captive and gets turned into becomes a slave, and it sounded really interesting the way it's a book that the professor brings up, because the author is someone Professor Harato is reading, and he's really interested in. And I think I've seen it at Books A Million. I mean, I'm more focused on Japanese literature right now. But yeah, so now I'm kind of interested in it. So maybe next time I go to Books A Million, I mean, I might, look at it. Of course, it will be more expensive at Books A Million. It might be a little bit more expensive than if I got a Thrift Books or somewhere, or even Amazon. But so far, yeah, that I'm really liking this so far. It's like I said, it's quiet. Not a lot of action is happening, but it's just they are at a track meet, like, which is funny. San-Siro talks about how he's not interested in sports, but from his new friends, he hears about going to the track is kind of a fun pastime. Of course, Yorjiro, I know I'm saying that right, but probably not. Is more interested in the women that go to those things. Of course, being boys will be boys. And that's kind of the last thing I read, because it doesn't have a lot of chapters, but they're long chapters. It's like I said, not a lot is going on, so it's not like fast paced. There's no rhythm. At least not that kind of rhythm. But anyway, okay, so let me show you the 2 books I got off of Thrift Books. Okay, so again, I'm kind of on the Japanese literature focus right now. So this is the more expensive, the one that costs a little bit more actually. This is by the same author as San-Siro, and this is my 3rd book by this author that I purchased. But this is Kusamakiro. Again, I'll have to either Google it or ask my dad how to pronounce these words. And this is actually a new translation. Okay, so I'm just gonna read the back. Its name follows. It follows a nameless young artist narrator on a meandering walking tour of the mountains. At the inn at a hot spring resort, he has a series of mysterious encounters with Naomi, the lovely young daughter of the establishment. Naomi, or beauty, is the center of this elegant novel, the still point around which the artist moves in the enigmatic subject of Soseki's word painting. And in the author's own words, is a haiku style novel that lives through beauty. And that sounds really good. Like I find that really interesting. He describes this novel as haiku style. I have to refresh my memory on what a haiku is, because I remember learning about it, but I don't remember what it actually is. I know it's poetry, but I don't remember what the format is. But yeah, they were so I'm wondering, this was written during the so I guess Meredith McKinney was known for translating. Okay, so this was written at the time Japan was opening its doors to the rest of the world. So, but I'm wondering if this was during the I can't remember if it's the Nara period. No, I think the Nara period. No, Heian period. Oh no, because I think that was when the Pillow Book was written. Which I would love to, because I know Terry loves Asian literature, although she's kind of has more of a Chinese focus. But I'm wondering if she would be interested in reading, like, doing buddy reads of like these Japanese classics I've slowly been accumulating. But that means you have to get them. That'd be the only thing. And I don't know if she could find them. She might have to like buy them online or somewhere. But I love this cover. This woman is so beautiful. This woman on the cover is beautiful. So there's that one. So I got that one. And then, so the next one is different. It's by a different author. I think it's kind of more. I thought the cover of this one was so cool. In each of the covers, because it's a 4-book series, and each cover is kind of like a very colorful. Makes you think it's kabuki. It makes you think kabuki, but I don't know, because like I said, that's another thing that I'm familiar with, but I don't know the style. I don't remember the style. I mean, the history of Japan talked about kabuki. But this is This Earth of Mankind by, forgive me, but Pramodaya Ananta Toir. I just totally butchered that probably. And okay, so Mink is a young Japanese student of great elegance. I don't know if it's elegance or not. A price sticker is covering the word, but I think it's probably, it might not be elegance. Sensitivity and ambition, living equally among the colonists in colonized of late 19th century Java. He battles against the confines of colonial strictures. The son of a noble Javanese, he moves easily among the Dutch and their ideas in language, but is prevented from enjoying their right. He also falls desperately in love with the beautiful Indo-European Annalise, and it is through her and her extraordinary family that Mink finds the strength to embrace his world, the world of the Indonesia, in all its beauty and possibility, brutality and anger. Quartet, that's the word I was not for. It's a quartet. The Boru Quartet. Let's see if so, like, child of all nations, footsteps in house of glass. Which, okay, so right here it says A novel by the author of House of Glass. I don't get that because it's the fourth book in the quartet. So why would you say that? I mean, like, I think people who, unless you lost your copy or gave it away or you read it and borrowed it and wanted to buy your own copy, you're not gonna have read the fourth book. It's, I'm assuming that's you should read that one last. So I don't know why they would say a novel by the author of House of Glass. Oh well though. But anyway, I'm really intrigued to read this. I'm really excited to read it because it just, and I guess the way I am leaning to, I do like some, I mean, I never said I didn't like romance, but I'm not always drawn to it. And I mean, but I guess I like some romance. I'm not completely. It depends. Depends on how it's portrayed. Like in this kind of format, this kind of story, where it's not, like I said, it's more that I just don't like it as where it's the only conflict, where it's the main thing, the main problem that the characters that deal with is. Like, I like how this is a book about colonialism and learning, being part of two different cultures. So I'm looking at the back, refreshing my memory. I am excited to read this as well. So that's fine. Those are the books I got from 2 books. Kazumakura and This Earth of Mankind. Like I said, it is a quartet, so there were 3 more books for me to get at some point. Okay, so as always, I'd love to know what you are currently reading. And what do you guys do? You guys celebrate Christmas? Would love to know how, are you ready for Christmas? Are you excited about Christmas? I know there are some people who aren't, a lot of people don't love Christmas anymore. And also, happy Kwanzaa if you celebrate Kwanzaa. And then, a special shout out, goes out to, I should put out to Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. I know there was something horrible that happened to people in Australia, and it's so tragic. I don't understand how people can be that hateful, that evil. But so, a special happy Hanukkah to anyone who is Jewish and celebrates Hanukkah. And I hope you all are enjoying your reading. And if you want to share what you're currently reading, I would love to know. Share in the comment section below, and I will talk to you all later. All right, bye.